Okay, so welcome to today's CV workshop. So just to begin, I'm just going to walk you through City Internships and a little history on us, and then you will hear a little bit more about your presenters. So in the 5 years since City Internships' launch in 2011, we have helped launch more than 1,000 careers. We've grown from 1 city to 12 across 5 countries. We've grown from exclusively financial services to an additional 8 industries, and we've gone from 1 program to 3 program types. And now we've rebranded from City Internships to CI. So a little bit more about me. My name is Alex, and I'm the Head of Marketing and Partnerships here at CI. I'm a University of Nottingham graduate. I've worked in this industry for coming up to 8 years now, and my primary day-to-day role is with university relations and working with students directly.
Hi everyone, my name's Josh. I am a University of Liverpool graduate. I've been working with CI for about 3 years now. I began on the London programme and have since worked across our Los Angeles and New York programmes as well. I'm currently the head of admissions, and myself and my team decide which of our applicants are successful and who we would like to invite to enrol onto our internship programmes.
So a quick look at today's agenda. We will take approximately 25 minutes of your time. So we're going to have a look at the graduate market in 2017. We're going to look at how you can build a CV, and we're going to look at marketing your CV as well. We will finish with a short summary and then some final thoughts. So without further ado.
Okay, so first up, the graduate market in 2017. To know is the number of graduates joining the graduate market is increasing annually. 2.5 million graduated college with a bachelor's or master's degree in the United States each year. And that number is 370,000 for the UK. Just under 50% of finalists in the UK hope to gain work in the nation's capital after graduation. And just under 50% of the UK's top employers have witnessed an increase in the number of graduate applications compared to the previous year. The good news is the graduates' hiring appetite is increasing. A third of Britain's top employers have seen an increase in the number of graduate applications. Over 30% of vacancies will be filled by graduates who have already worked for an organisation in some capacity. And the percentage of final year students from the UK's leading universities who expect to start a full-time job straight after university has increased to 26%. Organisations in the United States plan to hire 9.6% more class of 2016 graduates for their US operations than they hired from the previous year. Over 33% more vacancies were advertised over this academic year versus previous academic years. The bad news, the global graduate market remains saturated.
So by already thinking about your career at this stage, you are ahead of the curve. A quick look at the statistics on your screen there. It's all around how important work experience is. So more than 50% of graduate recruiters want that grads with no previous work experience have little or no chance of receiving a job offer from their organisation's programs. 61% of graduating seniors in the US had an internship or co-op experience, while 52% of those graduates receiving job offers in the US before graduation held internships. So we know that internships are the key at this point. Now a quick look at the CI premium chart on the left of your screen. So our alumni tend to earn 30% more than their peers, and they're hired 3 times faster than their peers. And actually, 65% of our alumni are hired by their host company, and that's either immediately or within 3 years, depending on the year of graduation. So what we can see is that this represents a trade of 8 weeks for 8 years. Our students see a positive return on their investment in education 8 years sooner than their peers, as demonstrated in this chart. So typically, employers consider that recruiting graduates who have proven their abilities during a work placement to be a much more reliable way of employing graduates.
Next, we're going to go over building your CV. So first of all, we're going to put 2 CVs on your screen. and we'd like to know which CV you would choose as a hiring manager. So first up, consider the layout, format, content, and how accessible that content is for the reader. Remember, recruiters spend on average just 5 seconds looking at a CV before making their decision. So you'll have the same amount of time on each CV. So which CV did you choose? There's no right answer to this question. It's very subjective and entirely depends on how much relevant content you have to add to your application.
Yeah, so you had 5 seconds per CV there. Employers, we know, we regularly survey our employers on improving how we work with employers and improving how we can introduce profiles to our. We know that they are looking at academics. So, what college did you go to? What degree did you earn? And we know that they're looking at work experience. So, you know, how can you stand out? And lastly, how do you share personality? So let's not forget that 2.5 million graduates enter the employment market in the US every year. So it's important to get your CV right. Now, the example CV on your screen has had its top, but we can see that the key factual information is highlighted in green. The personality sections are highlighted in orange, and the experience sections are outlined in blue. And this is really what will make you stand out. So we're about to move on to a more detailed breakdown, but remember to keep your content, keep your format clear. Dates should be in reverse chronological order, and typically you should avoid unnecessary information. And remember to tailor your CV for every different position.
So first things first, the presentation of your CV. You should really be keeping it to 1 page, use a simple font, and only include the basic details before diving into something a bit more specific. Of course, at the top of your CV, you should include your name, email address, and telephone number. If a hiring manager would like to reach out to you, they'll want to know how to contact you. Okay, secondly, your education. All qualifications should be placed in reverse chronological order, so start with your college or your university to begin with. You should include the dates you attended each institution, your degree subject, type and grade, detail on majors and specializations, your SAT scores and high school name or A-level grades, subjects and secondary school name, and any other relevant skills to your vacancy, such as computer literacy or languages.
Step 3, work experience. I've already touched on how important this is and how crucial this is to making you stand out. But this is all about having you come across as a well-rounded, proven person in the workplace. So it's important that you list your work experience in reverse chronological order and that you get the basic information in there. Now, whether you are applying to a position where you already have relevant work experience depends, or not, depends on the type of information you list. So, for example, if you're applying to work as a finance assistant and you have a similar internship, then it's important that you get the relevant skills that you learned that they've listed as required on the job specification on your CV. Obviously, if you have them. Now, if you don't have relevant experience, then it's all about transferable skills from other positions. So if you worked as a server in a restaurant, it's likely that you might have juggled lots of different tasks at one time. You may have worked with difficult customers, and you may have had to work very efficiently at speed for a long amount of time. And those are transferable skills that you want to ensure that you list on your CV. The second one is activities, and what we're talking about here is extracurricular involvement. This is the second differentiator to ensure that you stand out and you create conversation points at interview. Sure that you are highlighting the transferable skills that I listed before. If you have any positions involving leadership, organization, independence, or communication, to list those. When it comes to your interests, go into detail and be as specific as possible. Where you read relevant publications, make sure they are listed and so you're able to talk about those at interview. Where you are a member of relevant organisations, make sure you are a member of those. And actually, this section will help you to highlight what you're lacking. If you don't have those examples there, that is something you should explore, and something that you should be looking at involving on your CV as well.
Okay, so towards the bottom of your CV, you want to add references. So you should be attempting to obtain references from as many of your contacts as possible. Depending on where you are in your career and your academic career, these might include professors, deans, former employers, and anyone you've done volunteer work with. You can always add a personal element by contacting sports coaches and club heads, providing they're relevant to the vacancy that you're applying for. You should only really be including 2 or 3 references on your CV, and that's only if you have space. If you do not have space, or if you don't have enough references, put the line "references available" on request. And always remember to get prior permission from those contacts and let them know that you are adding them to your CV and you're currently applying for vacancies, as they may be getting telephone calls from sort of out of the blue, and they want to be prepared to speak about you and your key skills. Lastly, once you've completed your CV, you'll need to proofread it. So remember, your CV reflects on you as a person, as an applicant to a certain vacancy. So spelling mistakes are not a great thing to get across in your CV and won't make a good first impression. So proofing methods to consider. First up, put your CV down, walk away and return in an hour or 2. Fresh eyes will always spot clear mistakes. Use spell check on your computer, but remember that it isn't fail-safe, and you should get a pair of human eyes on there as well. Read your CV out loud. This is important for identifying tone and flow and ensuring you haven't just constructed a wordy list. Also get family and friends to do the same, especially family that might be in your industry already or have a few years experience in a certain sector. They can always provide ideas and kind of give you examples of their own CV. And remember, if you can customize your CV to a particular position, do so. It might seem like you're just sending the same CV to various vacancies, but a bit of customization can go a long way in impressing a hiring manager.
Let's look at marketing your CV and really putting your CV to work once you have updated your CV and you've built this ideal profile for yourself. So there's a lot of information on your screen. Now is a good time to take a screen grab if you are looking at making notes here, but I'm just going to walk through the main points. Now, job boards and CV databases are really important, and you can really make these work for you. First stop, explore university job boards, explore the regular job boards that are available, and start understanding what types of vacancies are available at what times of year. This will give you a better idea of the job market, its status, and you can figure out what companies might be hiring and which ones might not be. A second note, a note on CV databases and filling your CV with lots of keywords. You don't want to get overboard. You don't want to be cliched and adding information that is irrelevant, and you don't want to be able to back up your claims. So you want to have information in there. Recruiters and hiring managers will have notifications set on different job boards to email them when a relevant candidate is added to the system. So you can absolutely make that work for you. A quick note on social media as well. This is all about building your professional profile. We've added information on the top social media channels that you might want to consider. And they're not all relevant for searching for a job, but they might be relevant when it comes to an employer trying to find out more information on you. So do remember to cleanse your digital dirt. Now, LinkedIn is the main network that you should be looking to take advantage of. Now that you've built your CV, make sure you migrate some of this key information into your LinkedIn profile. Now, obviously, you can't customize your LinkedIn profile for every position, but that's not a reason to overdo it with the detail. It should be quick and easy to absorb, and your contact information should be on there. And then the next step is to really make LinkedIn work for you. And that brings me on to sort of mapping your market and contacting employers directly. So start growing your connections. Connect with people that you don't know, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and email people and start making those contacts. The second point really on this section is to email and call potential employers about hiring activities. Will they have any vacancies upcoming? How do you apply? How can you start making your profile the ideal candidate for that particular position? And it's really important to start sourcing potential points of contact. And the last point there is using recruitment agencies. So agencies are paid by an employer when a vacancy is filled, and that means that they've connected a vacancy with the best candidate. So their priority is finding the best candidates for the vacancies. So in this particular point, you need to remember that you are a commodity when it comes to working with recruitment agencies. You can learn a lot from working with recruiters. They will always have an innate understanding of the market that they work in. So take advantage of their knowledge, ask them questions, and work with them to tailor your CV for positions, and be helpful and help them to help you.
Okay, so a quick summary of what we've been over, and beginning with the building of your CV and giving yourself the best possible head start. So remember to create an inventory of skills. This can be useful in exposing any gaps in your skill set and will help you figure out where your strengths lie. Think about what you can add. For example, should you be pursuing a professional qualification alongside your studies or internship? Or are there any clubs on campus that you could join, or any additional reading to get your knowledge about your industry as good as it can be? And also remember, one size doesn't fit all. So these are the basic sort of tips and tricks that we have for your CV, but everyone's will be different, and it will of course depend on your academics and your work experience and any extracurricular activities you have. So just be sure to get as much as you can in there without being repetitive, and be concise, give examples, and stick to the facts.
Yeah, so if there's one thing you take away from this CV workshop today, it's that really your academics and the choices that you've made with regard to your education, they're set in stone now. You can obviously work to improve your GPA if you're still studying, but realistically your academics are a formality. What will help you stand out is your work experience. And no matter what, making the most of your transferable skills. So in terms of marketing your CV, now that you have that profile, explore job boards, evaluate your online presence. What do you find out when you search for yourself online on the different platforms that we've listed? And lastly, don't be afraid to use your network. Professional network. We don't know anyone that works in your industry. It's time to grow one. So don't be afraid to reach out to people on LinkedIn, speak with friends or family, and organise to have a coffee with someone that knows a little bit more about the industry that you think you would like to work in. But you really need to be very savvy about finding a job in this market. It is overcrowded. You need to be very proactive. Use every tool at your disposal. And on that note, this is a good time to learn a little bit more about City Internships and the value that we can offer. We focus on matching students with their ideal internship opportunity, and we teach the skill sets that employers require. So our 8-week programs, most of which take place over the summer across 12 different cities, might be the ideal place for you to start looking and investing in your education and in your career at an early stage, growing that professional network, getting that experience you need, and growing the skill set that employers are looking for. So that brings us on to the Q&A session of this webinar. You can find our contact information on your screen now, but I am just going to close this presentation, and Josh and I will answer your questions and run through a couple of the regular questions that we are asked. So, a common question that we are asked is, why should I tailor my CV? Now, hopefully, you have got a good understanding of why you should tailor your CV, but at the end of this webinar. We know that there are an awful lot of graduates joining the market, regardless of which country you're studying in. recruiters will spend 5 seconds looking at your CV. They're looking out for your academics, your availability, how can they get in touch with you, and what skill set can you bring to the workplace. Now, they need to be able to get that information very quickly, and you need to start thinking in the mindset of an employer. So how can you second guess them and start lining up the answers to their questions in your CV? And that really is by tailoring every application that you send. We'll come on to cover letters in a moment, and that does play a role, but really the CV is what most employers will look at. They might pass it around amongst your colleagues. So you need to consider, how do you stand out for a particular role rather than firing off a generic CV? Recruiters see hundreds of CVs every day, hiring managers likewise, so you need to make sure that yours stands out.
Another question that we're often asked is that if a graduate or an applicant is in a creative industry, can they do things a little differently and kind of get across their skills upon applying and submitting a CV? I think definitely you can, especially if you're in design or coding or kind of in an arts-based industry. It's definitely a route to getting in front of hiring managers and standing out from the crowd. I think we've all seen examples of kind of the top 10 innovative CVs and things like that. So if you are thinking of housing your CV online or kind of jazzing it up a little, definitely do so. But also remember to get the basics on there. I would still advise using our tips and tricks and getting all of your experience, your academics, and your personality down on a blank Word document, and then going from there. Just make sure you have all of the basics on there. The hiring manager and the person looking at your CV, no matter how good it looks and how well it stands out from the crowd, will still want to see examples of everything we've spoken about. But yeah, you can certainly stand out from the crowd by using your skills to make your CV look a bit different from the norm.
Another question we're commonly asked is about cover letters. Now, there is enough content to really cover another webinar in this cover letter. If that's something you'd like to see, then do let us know. But just in summary, your cover letter should really cover 3 essential things. It should highlight your availability and how you found out about the position. It should detail why you want to work for a company, and lastly, what specific skills you're able to bring to that company and how you see your career progressing. This is an opportunity to, in particular, if you're struggling to keep your CV on one page, to really expand on any skills that you haven't managed to list in your CV. This is a way to personally approach somebody, appeal to them, and get extra information in there. So, you know, we often refer to cover letters as cover notes. We regularly survey employers that we work with, and we find that the shorter the better. You should consider your cover letter much like your CV. It should be easily digestible within 5 seconds, so there's no reason why it should be pages long. Keep it to 1 page, get the basic information on there, make sure that the employer has your contact information and that they have your CV to hand when you're reading that. Well, that brings us to the end of the CV workshop here. You're more than welcome to send through any additional questions that you might have, and we'll come to those later on today. We do have a custom CV template available that will follow those steps that we listed earlier, the 6 steps. You can email me. My email address is alex@city-internships.com, and you can drop me an email asking for that template, and I'll gladly send it over. But otherwise, thank you very much for stopping by for our webinar today. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more notifications about when we're next broadcasting live. And we will be running a CV workshop specific to banking and financial services next week, and the week after, marketing, advertising and PR, a CV workshop relevant to that industry. We do offer informational sessions in our programs every Tuesday, so that's a great way to sit down and just spend 20 minutes learning more about our programs by joining that. So thanks again, guys, and we are here to answer any questions if you have them. Bye-bye.